What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Michael Balco Show. You already know who the host is. It's me, Mike Balco. Nothing new, but what is new is my guest today. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, native of Puyallup, Washington. Where are your boys from? Not from Puyallup, but from Washington, so it's cool. It's cool. Former Oregon State catcher, go Beavs, and now a now retired second round pick by the Cleveland Indians, Logan Ice. It's been a long time, my man. How we doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm just hanging out, have a nice long weekend. Little Memorial Day. So shout out to all the veterans and whatnot this weekend. So yeah, just a pleasure to have me on, and I'm happy to be on.
Awesome, man. I'm so happy to have you on too. But first and foremost, we have to rep that area code. Tell us about your hometown and what makes it so unique.
Hmm. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. Puyallup, Washington. Well, I guess it's changed. So Puyallup, Washington used to be kind of I wouldn't say rural, but it wasn't developed. Um, so Puyallup was cool. It was kind of like uh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a small town, but it kind of had a small town feel. Like I remember moving into um, my parents' old house in Puyallup, and it was like a couple houses in there that were developed, and we could just roam the neighborhood, and it didn't matter, and um, streets weren't busy and whatnot. So that's what I remember it. That's how I remember Puyallup. Unfortunately, it's kind of gone down, for the worse. They've developed it, put a ton of apartments in it. It's busier than all get out. So I try to not remember that. But Puyallup, I mean, for all my memories as I was growing up, it was a cool place where all my buddies could. I mean, we could just bum around and do some fun things. So yeah, Puyallup, it's not great now. I wouldn't recommend going there now, but when I was there, it was good.
Awesome, awesome. One of the things you used to do back at Puyallup was hit that baseball, my boy. So, what was your high school baseball experience like as a whole? And then, what kind of led you to take your talents to Oregon State?
Yeah. Um, High school baseball is interesting. I had, um, shoot, how many? I had one. I want to say I had three head coaches in 4 years in high school. So it was kind of a hamster wheel for coaches. We had a older coach who I started with, and he was kind of on his way out. And then we had some other guys who came in, and I don't think it was the right fit for him. And it was kind of I don't know, it was tough. So high school baseball was a blast because all my buddies were on the team, and we were actually really good. Um, I want to say we probably had some of my years 4 or 5 Division I commits, along with a couple other junior college commits. I think a D3, a D2 commit. So we were good. We always were really competitive in the league. Puyallup High School was always the rival, and was really really good. They continue to be good. Mark Weiss does a really really good job over there at Puyallup and developing players and having really good teams. We always put up a really good fight, if not beat them. We just could never put together a state run. We would kind of make a push, and then we just usually ran out of pitching. All of our better players, I guess, were position players. So we could hit, but we just never had any pitching or depth in pitching to kind of make a run in the state playoffs. So my high school experience was awesome. I mean, you get up there with your buddies and you develop those relationships. I played with them, and then we go hang out after the game. So high school baseball was great. Memories were great. Then going to Oregon State, it really just was a fit. I mean, I had other offers and whatnot, but the fit was. It just felt when I saw the place, when I watched them play, when I met the coaching staff, it was a place that I felt like I could develop as a person, first and foremost. But at the same time, I felt like I had a great opportunity to play. I think that's where a lot of players miss. Um, their competitive nature takes over, and they think they can just beat everybody out, and they just don't really get how it necessarily works. Maybe seniority, it may be coaches trusting the player just because they've been there. So it's you really have to feel out and feel wanted by a school, to think that you're going to be able to come in and play early and play right away to be able to make an impact, for the university. And so I thought I could do that. And there wasn't a lot of depth at the catcher spot at Oregon State. And with that being said, I was like, oh, that's a great opportunity. And obviously they showed interest in me, and they really were wanting me per se, or what it felt like. And so, that's what led me there. And then, the rest is history. It was a really, really good time there, and I loved every minute of it.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, like you just kind of mentioned, you played really well at Oregon State. You earned several honors, including Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, finalist of the Johnny Bench Award, which goes to the best catcher, obviously. And then you were named to the Pac-12 Conference's first team. So how big of a transition was it from high school ball, where you were playing at a very high level in high school too, to that college level where you were also just dominating? So just kind of tell us about that transition from high school to college a little bit.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, the game just picks up. The game's cleaner. I think there's the depth of the lineup, the depth of the pitching. Obviously, the pitching improves, but I mean, we face guys like 12 High School was really good. Emerald Ridge was really good. Those are the two local high schools. I mean, we had Emerald Ridge had a Division 1 arm, Division 1 shortstop. Puyallup had multiple Division 1 commits, and continue to this day. But I just think the depth, the crispness, I guess, of the game, really, really clean compared to high school. Not a lot of errors, not a lot of walks. It's just you're getting the best of the best in high school. Every team's best player goes to every high school team's best player, and you put them all on one team. And so that's kind of, I guess, the way you can look at it is it's just the best player on every high school team, and you put it on one college team. And so the adjustment was tough. I think the adjustment's more. I don't think it's baseball, to be completely honest. Now that I look back on it, it's more of just self identity and who you are, because it's kind of a rude awakening. It's the first time out of the nest. Mom and dad don't take care of you no more. I mean, they do, but they don't. Um, you're really on your own, and you have to figure out how you're going to schedule stuff. You got to figure out how, when you have a bad day at the yard, how to regroup, how to reorganize yourself, how to make sure that the rest of your day doesn't, get just messed up because your day at the yard was bad. So I mean, the baseball, yes, it gets better. Yes, it's faster pace, but it really wasn't a baseball adjustment for me. It was a self identity, confidence in knowing that there's a reason they recruited you. There's a reason that you're here. There's a reason, like, you proved that you can do this. Um, and I think a lot of players have that problem. I mean, and it's a fair, um, kind of identity crisis or self confidence thing, and so I think that's the biggest thing for me was just understanding that I was good enough, and then I was able to play at this level, and it obviously ended up showing once I got going and playing games and whatnot. So
Yeah, definitely. So, what are some of your earliest baseball memories, and at what age did you fall in love with the sport of baseball?
man, I don't remember a baseball fall in love, but I always was a sports guy. Um, I don't know, my mom, like, they never got me like toys. Like, the only toys they got me were like basketballs or footballs or like a wiffle ball bat or, like growing up when I was really little. Um, and so it was kind of I don't remember a vivid like I'm a baseball player. I love baseball, but I just remember I always like balls. Like, I always like this weird that sounds, but I always like any kind of ball. It didn't matter. I'd kick it, I'd throw it, I'd shoot it, I'd hit it. It really didn't matter. I guess just a fun story for we kind of joke about it, but my parents used to live in Tacoma, Washington, um, kind of North Tacoma area, and our backyard wasn't small, but it wasn't big. And we always joke about my mom always jokes about like I needed more room to play and whatnot because I'd always hit So we needed to move because I'd hit the wiffle ball over their fence. So we always chased the wiffle ball over the fence into the neighbor's yard. And so that was she kind of joked about that. Well, we had to move because you kept hitting the wiffle ball over. So that was kind of a fun story or funny story. But yeah, I don't remember a certain time. I just know that I always loved sports no matter what it was.
Awesome. Yeah. So what was your MLB draft process like? I know everyone, especially when it comes to baseball players, always has like an interesting draft story because the draft is so damn long and like there's like so many rounds. And so usually
Yeah.
dudes will just get a call and they're fishing or something like that. So what was yours? I mean, you didn't have to wait too long. You're a second round pick. So kind of what was your draft story like and how'd that all go down?
Yeah, it wasn't as I mean, I didn't have a I knew so going into my junior year, I knew I was going to get drafted. I knew I was going to be like a top 10, 15 round pick. So I knew I was going to be in the front half of the draft just solely that's just knowing how the draft works. I knew defensively I was one of the better in the country and had proven that. And I had played for multiple years because I was going to play a 3-year starter. So I knew I was going to be. And then obviously my agent, Dan Rischetti, he's with Beverly Hills Sports Council now, was with a different agency, but he's a rock star. I got him, was using him as an advisor going through the process all through my junior year. And it just was really, he was really awesome with just allowing me to play baseball and just worry about that. And he dealt with everything else. Obviously, he kept me in the loop of what was going on, but he did a really, really good job. So on draft day, I knew once the front half of the junior season was, I hit the ball really well, which is kind of a missing piece. Um, I knew I was going to be a pretty high round pick, and just through the grapevine and Dan, my advisor, talking to GMs, front office guys, whatnot, scouts, it was I had a range, which is kind of how the draft works. I had guys talking about picking me anywhere from the first round, late first round, all the way to like the eighth, ninth ish, 10th round. Um, so I knew there was a possibility really early. I knew there was a possibility a little bit later. And so it was just a really like low key. I had family over and just was hoping for the best and really wasn't stressing too hard about it. Just wanted the opportunity. And so it was just super low key. We had family over. There was nothing special. It was kind of a little bit of a shock because I just you knew you had chatters about being a top round pick, but you didn't really I was kind of thinking more like the third to fifth ish in my head, I guess. Now that I think about it, and luckily enough, it worked out, and we were kind of all just shocked a little bit, and got the call, and was like, "Wow, that's awesome, right on," and celebrated with the family.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cleveland Indians were the team that picked you up, so that's awesome. So you played as high as Double A ball. And I've seen you play in person. I live in Erie. It's an Erie-based podcast, so I've seen you play in person. We actually probably met, believe it or not, because I've been the bat boy a lot. I've been there since like 2015. So honestly, I was in the clubhouse. I was a bat boy a few times. I did a bunch of jobs there. I still work there. But so we've probably met, believe it or not. And now look, we're just chilling on a podcast. So it's cool. But
Yeah.
you played as high as Double A ball in your career, but before hanging up the cleats in 2020. So how hard of a decision was that to just decide to hang them up and pursue other avenues?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. I mean, I thought about it for months, weeks. Um, the ultimate factor to me was I I couldn't give up the love of baseball because I couldn't lose the love for baseball because of the lifestyle, the business, um, and I guess what the sport and professional sports prohibits you from doing from a family standpoint. And so I was really I love baseball. Like looking back on it, people ask me all the time, "Do you regret? Like, do you miss baseball?" I'm like, do I miss baseball, the game? Yes. Do I miss being a professional baseball player and everything that comes with that? No, not one bit. I I acknowledge it was super, super hard. But I think I was doing myself a disservice and the people around me and the organization a disservice if I wasn't fully invested in what I was doing, and was enjoying it to the full extent that I was enjoying it, back when I was playing select ball, when I was playing college ball, when I was playing even in the beginning of my leagues. It wasn't this way for the whole time. I mean, I loved it in the beginning. It was a challenge. It was a grind. Meeting new people, having new opportunities. The thrill of trying to get or getting promoted. The thrill of moving up levels. I mean, it it was great. But then it just starts to wear on you. It started to wear on me, and it no longer was a game. It no longer was fun for me. It was more of a task. It was more of a job. And I get it. Some people think it is a job, but I just feel like there's a reason they call it a baseball game. It's not a baseball job. Granted, it is your job, but if you take it as a job, it makes a lot of things just miserable when they're not going well. And that was just me. So I regret it zero bit. I'm really, really happy with my decision. I'm a lot happier. I give back to the game of baseball. I love baseball still. And so it's just been, it was something that needed to happen, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about like the process of getting to the show. It's not easy. You know what I mean? And it's a grind. And I've specifically talked to players who have told me the same thing in person. And, I've just met so many other people throughout my time working in minor league baseball. And it is not easy, man. And I've especially if you work in the clubhouse, you get to see behind the scenes reactions. And it's people struggle sometimes, man. That shit's not easy, bro. People just assume it's you're just playing baseball. But there's employees that are getting paid more most of the time. Not every guy is a high draft pick, so dudes are really struggling to make ends meet, and then they're expected to perform on top of that. It's just, there's a lot of things that are a grind in minor league baseball that a lot of people don't understand. So I'm kind of happy you shine some light on that, for sure. But with that being said, can you kind of take us into what a typical day in the life of a professional baseball player looks like?
Yeah. So pretty much all games are in the evening. You play 6 out of 7 days of the week. So you get usually one day off, and it's of course usually a Monday. So there's nothing great going on Mondays. So you play 6 out of 7 days of the week, more times than not. You usually they try to run it so it's like 6-game homestands and then 6 games on the road if you're going to travel a decent distance. So the 6 games, you'll play like a day in the life. So usually you're home for a little bit, which is great. You can kind of settle in. You can get your apartment all deal. Your clothes can get out. You're not living out of a suitcase. But all games are in the evening except on usually getaway days or a Sunday, which is usually a getaway day. So a typical evening start time, a 7:05 start time, would be something along the lines of, you have to take into account we played the evening before at 7, so you're done at 7, or you start at 7, you're done at 10-ish. You're gonna get in the clubhouse, you're gonna celebrate, hopefully, if you won. So that's gonna be 10-15 minutes. Everyone's gonna bum around. Everyone's gonna kind of be happy and whatnot, management. So let's say we're at 10:20 or so. You're gonna take your shower. You're gonna get cleaned up. You're gonna get your food. So by the time you basically get out of the locker room, we're talking, if you're fast, you're like a 10:45er, something like that. You're about a 10:45, maybe 11 o'clock. If you're slow, you're past 11 o'clock. So depending on what team, I don't know what every organization's like, but let's just say for AA, I lived across the street in Akron. So it was a super short walk. We could walk there. It took 2 minutes to walk to our apartment, which was great. Some other players don't, in organizations don't have that luxury. So let's say it's another 15-minute ride home. Let's just say, for just round number's sake, 11:30 you got home the night before, and you're still wired from the game. So you're probably not going to bed till pretty late. I'm laying it out pretty easily, but let's just put it, you're going to bed late because your adrenaline's still going, your excitement's still going. The game really only ended like an hour and a half ago. So let's say you go to bed late. Now I'm not waking up because I'm recovering, so I'm not going to wake up till probably let's just say on an early wake up guy, most guys sleep a long time, but I would be up at like, let's call it like 8 or 9. Some guys are like 10 or 11. So you're not getting up till then. You eat your breakfast or whatever, and then you show up to the field. I was like shoot, I got to the park depending on the day. If it was a 7 o'clock start, I would probably be there at like 1:30 or so, um, to start milling around and start moving around. Sometimes you have a lift you got to get done before the game. So if that was the case, I would say probably 1:30 or so. I'd start strolling in there, and then it's 1:30 to 7. You show up at 1:30. You would come in. If I have a lift, you go do your lift. You come back. You kind of clean up. Then you have your early work. Your early work is for catchers is usually just you go do some blocking or you do some receiving off the machine. If you don't have any of that, you maybe go do your early cage work. You go from early cage work, you come back into the locker room. You go from the locker room back out to the field. You take your on-field batting practice. On-field batting practice. Do your teamwork, which was like some like PFPs, bunt plays, pick plays. You do some sort of infield work. Outfielders would go do their thing. Then you'd hit your BP. Then you come back in. Then you'd have basically 2 hours. You have about an hour and 15 or so, hour and a half until the game first pitch. Obviously, being a catcher, you got to go out before then, and then you get a hit right before the game again. You have a time slot of about 20 minutes or so right before the game to hit,
Yep.
and then you play a game and do that all over again.
Yeah, it's a it's a grind, and the best is whenever you go from a 7 p.m. on like a you have your schedule on like a 7 p.m. and then those Sunday days come around and you got to be there even earlier. It's the absolute best, because then first pitch is usually at like 1:30. The best, the best.
Yeah.
So, what is a piece of adversity that you've had to overcome, whether it's in your life or whether it's in your baseball career, and how did you overcome it?
Man, I don't know if I overcame it, but the minor league was a freaking battle of its own. I think I let the expectations of maybe not of what other people wanted for me, but also myself, combination of being a second round pick, being a high pick. They had all the intentions in the world for me to be their big league catcher at some point. Maybe my timeline was different than what their timeline was. I don't know. Maybe I didn't perform as well. I mean, I didn't perform as well. Let's just put it that way. I didn't perform as well from the offensive side that I think they were hoping for, and as well as I was hoping for. And so I think just expectations for myself and for the organization on me. It was kind of a rude awakening. It was really frustrating for me because I didn't I guess I didn't handle that adversity as well as I could have or should have. I think there was times I did a really good job of it. Early on in my career, I think I did a really good job of it, and it showed because I moved up the ladder pretty quickly. And then I started to kind of get into that range of double A, which realistically, double triple A, it takes a little bit unless you're a kind of a freak, and have really, 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 I mean, you just always done something really well. Like you just always hit.
I can't hear you. There we go. I think
I'm
you're good.
back.
You're
You hear me?
back. He's back, everybody.
Why can't I hear you?
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Technical difficulties here.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
I
me?
can
I
hear
can't
you.
hear you though.
Oh, uh, I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
I can read
Let me
your
see.
lips, but I can't hear you.
Hang on.
No, I can't. I can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
You hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I just can't hear you. That's weird.
Interesting. Well, I guess that will just have to wrap up the show, unfortunately, then. Um, Unfortunately, we're having some sort of technical difficulties. So, ladies and gentlemen, Logan, Ice, everybody. Um, Unfortunately, it's a weird ending, but it's okay. Thank you all so much and have a great day.